And good evening to you. Welcome once again to another edition of The Truth Hour here on Quantum Leap Television. My name is Johnny Guzman. Welcome once again on this Thursday. Today we have a special guest. His name is Alexander Gottwald. He's a transformative coach of German origin who now resides in South America. He's a blogger. He's into consciousness research for about 25 years now. He's a facilitating he facilitates spiritual ceremonies in different places in South America. He's a very interesting fellow who I met through another friend, and I invited him to come on to our program to discuss today's topic. And today's topic is the deepening and expanding consciousness in challenging times. We're going to speak to Alexander in just a few more seconds, but I'd like to remind you to find us in Facebook. Our link is qlpmultimedia@gmail.com. Okay, so let's bring in Alexander. Welcome, Alexander. How are you?
Hi, Johnny. I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for inviting me. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing great. We are here tonight. We're going to speak about this topic, deepening and expanding consciousness in challenging times, right? Challenging times because we are seeing all this I would say tyranny, so blatant in today's society. It seems like in today's day and age, it's no longer hidden. It's just out in plain view. I mean, we're seeing all this craziness going on in Europe with Greece, Spain, Ireland, Portugal, and definitely these are some challenging times. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do as a coach, transformative coach, before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, Alex?
Sure. My basic focus is on who we really are, and putting this focus on the first place. And so there are lots of processes, spiritual paths, religions, coaching techniques, and so forth that tell you, or also therapy, and they all tell you you have to do this and that first, and then maybe in the end you're going to wake up and see who you really are, be enlightened, whatever. And my experience is this is the first thing to happen because it is our true nature. It's who we already are. It's nothing to achieve. It's nothing we have to do a training for or whatever. It's just a shift, a slight shift in awareness of who we really are. And from this, we can have a totally different viewpoint on all kinds of problems, challenges, may it be of personal nature or global nature, we might be facing.
Alex, you're now residing in South America. You left your native Germany about 2 years ago, in 2009. Why did you move to South America?
Actually, it feels like a sort of guidance. I didn't really think about it. When I met my partner now, my wife, in 2006, we were both already very fascinated with spirituality and also with Southern American indigenous culture. And by the way, we were also dancing tango, and all this together got us to the idea, well, one day maybe we move to South America. And here we are. Let me share one funny thing with you.
Okay.
You're also living in South America now, right? In Ecuador.
Yes, I'm in Ecuador. And it's funny because I left in 2009 as well, after 30 years of living in the States, yes.
Yeah, and I saw a video on YouTube a few days ago, and it was about the history since 1945, since they started with the Manhattan Project and with the first nuclear bomb in the United States, then followed by the bombing of these two cities in Japan. And there was this Japanese guy doing a video on all the nuclear bombs they put on different places on the earth, and mainly for, so to say, testing. And what I noticed was they did it on all continents except South America.
Interesting.
Did you know?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Pretty interesting.
I didn't know that. Well, I was reading some stats that in the last 2 years, close to 2 million Americans have left. Well, Americans from the United States have left the United States to move to different places in the world, and lots of them are heading down here to South America. Found that interesting that people are leaving their native land where they've grown up all their lives and known that culture so much. But I guess internally they're feeling something that, hopefully nothing's bad's going to happen to our native countries, but for some reason or other we're leaving like birds heading south. But Alex, I'd like to ask you one thing before we get started, because I want you to clarify. You mentioned something about spirituality earlier. Can you clarify how do you view spirituality? And the reason I ask you this is because I've met a lot of people who are in the New Age movement or the spiritual movement, and they talk a lot about peace and love, and that's the least thing in their lives. Do you understand? I personally believe that if you are living in peace and love, then your immediate surrounding, meaning your family structure or the place where you live, has to be in harmony, and everything else around you. But I don't quite understand that part where you're preaching. I'm not speaking about you now, but I'm speaking about folks who are preaching peace and love in this new spiritual movement, but yet their lives are a mess. So I don't understand that concept. So can you clarify to our audience, what is spirituality and how do you see it and define it, Alex?
Well, what you're talking about is just the human character. It's that we're afraid of being who we are, and then we think through our upbringing and our also religious conditioning and stuff like that, we think we have to play a certain role. And of course, that's also the fact for people who are dealing with spiritual topics. And so dealing with spiritual topics doesn't mean we have understood anything. And so what I said in the first place, we already are. We already are who we are. There's nothing to add to this. We don't have to become anything. And it's much more something about unlearning things we learned. Because what we learned is based on memories, on what we remember, what our parents remembered, what our grandparents remembered, what all humanity is remembering. And this is mostly connected to a lot of pain and separation and fear and anger. And from this state of mind, of course, we then attack others, ourselves, depending to our conditioning. And so it's not about blaming other people, that they're sort of in the politics of pretending to be spiritual. That's, I mean, all the politicians pretend something. They pretend to protect our rights. They pretend to give us a better life and whatever. And I think the most important thing, and this is why this show is called Deepening and Expanding Consciousness in Challenging Times, it's because we already are who we are, but we have to realize, and from this, trust it and have the faith that it will expand into our lives. And by putting our awareness again and again on this very moment, on who we really are, without claiming to be anybody. Because this is the main point, that we are so used to these labels. Yeah, you have to be a good person, or yeah, let's stick with that one. You have to be a good person. What the hell does that mean? Yeah, someone said to Jesus once, "You have a good master." And he is said to have replied, "Why do you call me good? The only good guy is God, our Father." And so this is not about preaching about Jesus or whatever, but this is that we just see that our characters reflect a lot of these memories, a lot of these ideas of hiding something we think that might be bad, and then no one would like us, and we might be abandoned, and so forth. And at the same time, we sort of try to make other people believe that we are these good guys. And I like how Leonard Cohen put it in one of his songs. He said, "We're dressed in rags of light. And in our rags of light, we're dressed to kill." And so I guess it's time that we become naked, if you will, in that sense, that we notice that we already are who we are, and this is not a bad thing. We often think, oh, we're afraid if we look into the mirror, what will we see? But what we see, if we really dare to look, is unlimited consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Alex, how do we expand consciousness? I mean, because we have spoken about this topic before with other folks here on the Truth Hour, and everyone has a different version of how consciousness expands. I have friends who are atheists, and they laugh at me when I mention this, and that's fine. That's their belief system, because if they don't see it, they can't understand it, or if it's not scientifically proven, they don't believe it. But I have a different point of view, because I know who controls science in our world today. So whatever they present is whatever they want us to see. I mean, is what they want us to see. So whatever the information is that we're not getting the whole story. You understand? So how do we expand consciousness, and what tools or what simple things can we do to expand our consciousness in these challenging times?
It's always getting back to remembering of who we already are, to become silent for a glimpse, to just interrupt this flow of thoughts, and just for one instant become quiet. And this doesn't cost any money. You don't have to book a seminar. It's
so you mean
what
like,
we already are.
So you mean like meditation, or
let me just point out one thing, because you mentioned atheists, and you could have as well mentioned religious people, because it's all belief systems, and all these belief systems are limiting our consciousness. I mean, many people think they're very clever, they're very, very elevated in their thinking, but basically these thoughts are put out into the world to limit the speed of thinking of people, and the real speed of thinking unfolds if we stop thinking for a moment, and if we stop claiming we know what's going on. And there are scientists who say we don't have a clue. We don't get more than 1/1,000,000th of a fraction of what's going on around us. So our brains are just not made for getting it, So the basic thing is to become quiet, and to let this consciousness that is already here unfold.
So what do you mean, like meditation? I mean, what are the tools? How do you quiet your mind?
That's just another concept. That's another concept. I mean, you can, of course, sit down and try to meditate. What's going on? You will soon notice after 10 seconds, after maybe 30 seconds, you will notice some disturbing thoughts.
Yes.
And you say, okay, I'm meditating. Mm-hmm. This is a serious matter. I'm meditating now. And so, I mean, basically you're just sitting and thinking you're meditating. So this is not meditation. And it doesn't matter. Some people then try to focus on a mantra, or on chanting, or on some physical exercise, and in the end, it doesn't matter what you do. You will miss the present moment if you're busy with this concept. And whatever concept, I mean, some people say, I don't have time, I have to work. I don't have time, I have children. I don't have time, I have my dogs, or whatever, yeah? And and other people would say, I don't have time, I have to meditate, yeah? And we all have different kinds of concepts, and they are all related to what we think is important. And for many of us, work would be important, or our family, or spiritual progress. And so we think we have to do something to progress. And by this, we sort of get off track. And we can remind us, it's very, very easy. And this is why the mind mostly is not really interested in the true spirituality, in our true nature, which is beyond all concepts of religion, therapy, even spirituality. It's just who we are. And this doesn't need a name, this doesn't need a concept. It already is. And once we acknowledge that, it will start living us and we will be more aware of it. It already is living us. We don't have a life apart from that. We try to separate us from who we really are, to become somebody. But this is never our true nature. And so it's especially funny if we try to become a spiritual person, because this indicates that we haven't got a clue of who we really are. Because once we have this, we don't need to try to become that. And this is why the mind basically is not interested, because the mind wants something challenging, something in the future, something he can work onto, do some training, and then I can lift more weight or whatever. Yeah.
Alex, so do you believe in God, or what do you believe in? Or what is God to you, if you do believe in God?
It's finally, it's another concept. Once you're in touch with this eternal nature, you know that God is. And it doesn't matter if you call it God or if you just become silent in awe, in admiration, in ecstasy, in love, in whatever comes up. Because this creative power is living us. And this is the amazing thing. So if we talk about the expansion of consciousness and the deepening of consciousness in challenging times, it's about realizing that we can't wait for anybody. We can't wait for any politician to solve anything. We can't wait for any guru. We can't wait for any outside projection of a God. And of course, we can't wait for any kind of aliens who will come with their spaceships and resolve it all for us, no?
Yeah, that seems to be one of the hot topics in today's esoteric communications. The aliens are coming; they're going to save us. I don't know about that. There's a lot of good stories out there, I got to say, but I don't know. We're going to take a quick break, Alex. When we come back, I want to get into this other area that you were mentioning to me earlier today, because I think it's extremely important in today's day and age that we know what's going on with our world, what's above us, and how those two things combine. And Alex, of course, is an expert, I would say, because 25 years studying certain topic, any topic, I would say make you an expert. So when we come back, Alex is going to talk about what's going on in our world today. Hold on, we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back to the Truth Hour. My name is Johnny Guzman, and we're talking today with Alexander Gottwald, who now resides in South America, and he's of German origin. He's a researcher of the past 25 years. He studies what researches consciousness, but he also has been, I would say, studying and researching astrology, among other ancient wisdoms, I would say. And he's going to share with us some of the things that he has found in his research. Okay, let's get you back here, Alex. Alex, but before we go into that, it's so true what you were saying before, that when I asked you about do you believe in God or do you believe in this, but my words are saying exactly what you were just saying before. Believe, right? It's another belief system. We always got to believe in something. See, it's funny because we here in Ecuador, I would say 90% of, well, not 80% of the population is Roman Catholic. So when you tell them that, I don't follow that religion, I don't care for it, then the first thing that they say is, well, what do you believe in? So I said to them, well, why do I have to believe in something? But the topic about God it's so been misused, especially by the gurus and all these New Agers who have now sort of attacked the Catholic Church and the religions, but yet they go back to the same old nonsense, where they preach from the Bible, or they take Jesus literally, and they believe in the Old Testament. I'll give you a quick example. One of those people is this woman in Yelm, Washington, in the state of Washington in the United States, calls herself Ramtha, the Enlightened One, and it's supposedly this woman, J.C. Knight, channels this entity called Ramtha, who lived 35,000 years ago. The story is very beautiful. It's captivating, but when you start looking at this thing, it's so crazy. See, and she gives, attacks the Catholic Church, attacks the system, attacks the politics. He's the Hierophant, and he's the Enlightened One. He has achieved enlightenment in one lifetime when he lived 35,000 years in Lemuria. But he talks about Jesus, or she talks about Jesus. I don't even know what it is. And gives it a different name, calls it Jeshua ben Joseph, and he was an ascended master. And it's sort of like to keep the people tied into that religious mind, just in case. It's like, well, you now have a new guru, you now have a new master, because he calls himself the master. But just so you don't completely get lost, we're going to leave Jesus in this new belief system. So what is your take, before we get into the chart and what's going on in our planet today? But what is your take on this? I would say nonsense. In our show, it's called The Truth Hour. And a lot of times our audience, my audience, gets mad at me because I show things as if I created it. And I say to them, I said, look, you want to kill the messenger. I didn't ask these priests to violate and rape little boys. I didn't create that. I didn't create all this, the banking system that stole the money from the people in this mortgage crisis in 2008. So I didn't create that. I'm just simply giving you this information so you understand how the system works, and understand that this system that you live in is just an illusion created by the people who want to continue to dominate you. So I want to hear what is your take on this concept of these gurus suckering people, and of course, you have to pay the tithes and the 10%, and in the courses, thousands of dollars. And so what is your take on this, Alex?
Well, interesting question, Johnny. The point for me is, as Karl Marx once put it, that religion is opium for the people. And so, as I understand this phrase, it means that you're given something to dream on. You're given something to forget about who you really are, and forget about this creative ability of your consciousness to change the world, to really make a difference. And so a huge part of spiritual so-called knowledge, esoteric wisdom, is, as you said, just nonsense, or it's just some stuff taken from its true context and put into another context, and then half cut off, and then the other half is then just to put some spice into it. They talk a little bit about Jesus and whoever, and so this is then a weird soup and leads you nowhere. And there's so much stuff going on, and for instance, there's a lot of stuff like channeled beings. I don't know if you knew that this movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? It's what is behind it is this woman, I forgot her name. She's channeling an entity called Ramtha.
Yeah, that's the one that I was just telling you. Yes, that's the Ramtha, the enlightened one from Yelm, Washington. That's exactly the one I was talking about.
Yes, and she is the one who was running the production of this movie, and not personally, but the guys who made it are all her students, and most people don't know that. And I guess that's an important thing. And as you said, it's often a little bit strange in the New Age movement, and at the same time, it's human. I mean, if people start dealing with spirituality, they're not having a different kind of character than other people who are dealing with politics or, let's say, growing cattle or whatever. Yes, we're humans, and so for instance, she's taking everyone to court who's also channeling Ramtha. And she claims that she's the only one who can channel Ramtha. And
yeah, I find that funny. It's just, one entity can only enter into one body. She trades trademarks and patents all like phrases and all kinds of things. And I'm speaking to you about this because I've been there. I've seen there. I've been to her ranch in Yelm, and it costs $1,000 to go speak to her. Now they're having, I believe, auctions to speak one-on-one with the great master, and it starts, and get this, at $25,000. That's the bidding starts at $25,000.
Yeah.
And people are paying this, Alex. What's going on with the consciousness of the human being?
Well, we forget about it, and that's the sad thing. And most people are so traumatized from their childhood experiences that all their life they are looking for the good dad or the good mom, and they would pay huge amounts of money, not to say to give everything they have, to have this 1 minute or 5 minutes of peace and feeling finally there is somebody who understands them, and even if they paid for it. I mean, in the end, it's nothing else than a man spending some money going to a whore. But that's part of the game. And the main thing, and let me come back to this, is that we forget about who we already are. And then we do all these crazy things. And we can't blame anybody for that. I mean, there are so many people looking for this wonderful, completely understanding mom and dad, and maybe then this woman is embodying this for in the imagination of some people, and then they're willing to spend money on that.
Alex, I have a question for you. So let me ask you this.
Yes?
Because most people would say, well, Johnny, that's your opinion. Okay, my life, I live my life the way I want to live my life, and that's fine. But isn't there a middle ground where if in if your surroundings, because Bruce Lipton, I'm sure you know who he is, he's a biologist, a cell biologist. He says that the environment determines the outcome of your perception, right? And he's done experiments, scientific experiments for over 30 years, where he's proven that if you take a cell out of a hostile environment into a friendly environment, the cells will grow. If you take a bone cell and put it in a friendly environment, it will grow bone cells. As a matter of fact, he's I would say famous, although not recognized by the science community, that he proved that the expression of life is not in the genes, but in the membrane of the cell, right? So because he removed the nucleus from a cell, and the cell did not die. In other words, what science teaches us today is that the nucleus in the genes is the life of the cell. But if you remove an organism from, if you remove the brain from any organism, then that organism dies immediately. But it didn't do that when he removed the nucleus from the cell. So if your environment now is in harmony, if your partner that you live with, your relationship is harmonious, and you live in love, you live in abundance, you have plenty to eat. I mean, I'm not talking about having a mansion or millions of dollars, but you live comfortable, you live happy, you have people around you that love you, care for you, you have access to being in nature like you, that you can go walk barefoot on the land and drink and eat maybe organic foods and not drink water that's contaminated with fluor. But if those things around you are there, would you say that the body could still get sick? That's my question that I want to hear what you have to say about that. Your environment it's great, it's fantastic. You have all the money you need, but can the body then get sick in that environment?
The body is just reflecting the sickness of the soul. That's my perception. And the sickness of the soul is the result of our memories. So if we don't let go of the terror inside ourselves, we can be put into the most beautiful environment, and we won't be able to take it. We would even try to escape it and would get back to the ghetto we come from or whatever. And so healing and transformation has to come from inside. That's at least my experience. I met lots of nice people on my way, and lovely people, and at certain points in my life I just couldn't take it, and I would hurt those people and I would run away and whatever. So I don't think it's about creating a perfect outer surrounding and believe that then everybody will be happy and healed, because that also implies that we're not already who we are. It might get a little boring, but I have to get back to this again and again, because as we already are who we are, it's not dependent on the surrounding, but once we allow this consciousness to expand and to deepen, we will start creating surroundings like this. There will be an inner urge, an inner need, an inner yearning to express this inner harmony, this inner love, this friendliness, this light, and we want to express it in our own life. And this is where the beautiful garden is being created. And then some people may be attracted and they will visit this garden. But in fact, what can happen is that they get remembered, they get reminded, and then they remember who they really are themselves. And so they don't have to stay in my garden. This would again be this father guru role. But they can just get inspired and they can see, oh, wow, yes, I'm free, I'm unlimited consciousness. And from their own heart, from their own being, they might realize, oh, yes, I can do it in my own way, through it's exactly the way that it will express through my soul, my being, my personality. And so waking up can be an inspiration. I once met a teacher who called it a virus. Yeah, it's because it's in a way, if you're open to it, it will sort of infect you, wake you up, and you will never be able to fall asleep again. You saw this movie, The Matrix?
Yes. Yes.
And there is this guy called Cypher.
Yes, the traitor.
And he's, yes, and well, let's just not put this moralistic thing on him, but just look for a moment what he's into, and he's exactly into what I've been talking about. He's into the mind. He was waking up. Yeah, this Morpheus and his guys were coming and were waking him up. And he saw who he really is, and then he got involved with his mind and with all these ideas, and then he's talking to the agents who are part of the mind, the matrix, and he says, "Oh, I want to get back. I want to fall asleep again." And in this dream, then, he doesn't call it a dream, but in this dream, then I want to be a famous artist, I guess, and I want to have some money and some women and the usual things, yes? And so, this is why I said that the mind, our memories, is not interested in waking up. And so we have to understand this and to remind ourselves again and again and again of what it means to be alive, what it means to be aware. And because then we can grow beyond these old memory patterns, and we can realize that there is indeed a vision of living as human beings, because this is the real challenge, that we finally become human. I mean, humanity is on the edge of extinction, and it's the only species that is killing each other, and so I mean, we can look at all other species on this planet. They socially behave in more intelligent ways than we do.
Absolutely.
And so this becoming aware of who we really are is the wonderful gift that we're all given, and we can allow it to grow. And as we allow it to grow, this beauty will unfold. And this beauty unfolding means we become sensitive to what we are doing to ourselves, to other people, to this planet, and that we feel how it hurts. And this feeling how it hurts, can help us stop it. It's very simple, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, a lot of people would say it's a lot simpler. It's simpler. It's easier to say, but harder to do. You know, that's where they go back into mind, and it just gets complicated for them. And just as you mentioned, Cypher in the movie, yes, you know, hey, listen, don't bother me with that stuff. I met a lot of people like that. I have a cousin of mine who I no longer speak to her because she chose not to speak to me anymore because I did a lecture here, and I invited her, you know, hey, would you like to go and listen to some stuff that I'm talking about in these challenging times? And she's like, well, sure. Well, what are you going to talk about? So I mentioned a couple of things. And then she said to me, well, listen, Johnny, I really don't want to hear that stuff. And I would appreciate when you come here to see us, don't mention any of that stuff. I won't talk about my stuff. You don't talk about that stuff. Okay? So in other words, just let me be the way I am, and that's it. And I said, okay. And eventually, the relationship just kind of wore off because, she just wanted to be in that environment, and that's fine. You know, that's fine. That's not my business. But I clearly understand what you're saying. But Alex, I want to get into now into what you prepared for us. Now, one of the key things I believe, whether you believe in any system or whatever, in anything, I think the key is to know thyself, as the ancient wisdom wise men would say. Understand who you are. Once you understand who you are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, once you understand that and you have that image very clear, then I think that's the first step in this evolution, in expanding consciousness. Because what good does it do to us, Alex, if we spend all these years, like I did, studying this, learning about that, visiting this guru, going to that ashram, going into this belief system, and at the end of the day, I'm still chasing the chicken and I can't catch it, you know, and I'm looking for happiness outside. And it's because, again, as you said earlier, I didn't want to take the mask off and see myself clear in the mirror. So I believe one of those tools, and this is my personal opinion, is astrology. Many folks would criticize this and say, well, that's a pseudoscience and it has no backup, and it's just, you know, another way to control people. The atheists especially, they say this, you know. And the funny thing about this is that they speak about it, and they haven't even taken the time to research about it. You know, so it's like, how can you talk about something when you don't know about it? So you've prepared something for us, and I want you to tell our audience what it is, Alex, because I think this is very important for these challenging times. Alex.
Okay, let me just say one thing first about the astrology thing. We already talked about that earlier. Not today, I guess yesterday we talked about it. But I really have the experience that it's way easier if you first wake up, realize who you really are, and then you start dealing with this human character, with the personality of the human character. Because if you start getting involved in be it therapy, be it coaching, be it astrology, whatever, you're getting into creating a very complicated spiritual ego. And or if you're into therapy, you might get a very complicated therapeutic ego. And this is not solving anything. On the contrary, it can get things worse. And so we talked a lot about understanding who we really are. And I guess that this chart that I prepared is about exactly this, so that time quality can be challenging. And let me show you the chart. Can you see the chart now? Yes? Make it bigger. Let's see. Like this? Ah, on my screen it's getting bigger. I don't know then how to make it bigger. I have no clue. That's all that Skype is giving me, sharing my screen with you.
Okay, yeah, we can see it, Alex, but it's very tiny. So maybe might not be a good idea because you really can't see it. It's very small. It's very small. But we'll leave it on there and just explain. It's fine. It's fine. Let's get the chart up.
Maybe in the replay you can enter the chart.
Yes.
So that
yes.
Then people can see it.
Okay.
I don't know.
So go ahead. I'm going to make it full screen. I'm not going to appear on camera, so you won't be able to hear my voice. I mean, you'll be able to hear my voice, but the audience won't be able to hear me. Okay. So you go ahead and explain, and then we'll take it from there. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I chose as a chart for tonight is the surprise, the 21st of December 2012, because this is the big myth this year. What will be going to happen? What's going on? Is this the end of the world? And whatever kind of questions are asked about this special date. And I chose the time 11 a.m. as this is the exact time of the winter solstice or summer solstice, depending on which part of the earth you're living. So it's exactly at 11 this year, and which gives it definitely a very interesting kind of consciousness uplifting energy. We already did a ceremony last year on the 11th of 2011 in Lake Titicaca, and so this 11 energy is very strong in becoming aware of who we are and bringing this into our daily lives. And in this chart, there are three very interesting figures, and well, the first one I want to get into is well, let's start with the T-square here, because they're all sort of interconnected, and that's the beauty in it also, because I'll show you first. We have this T-square. This means you have an opposition and two squares, and these two squares point to Neptune, who is at the ascendant of the horoscope. And I chose this place, which is Greenwich in England, in the United Kingdom, because this is the sort of the 0 point of time on Earth. So in my perception, this is a pretty good place to choose for a sort of a collective horoscope also. And so we have this Neptune very close to the ascendant in Pisces. So this Neptune also has these two squares, as I pointed out, and they point to Jupiter, who plays another very, very important role, and on the other side it points to Venus, which also plays an important role in another figure, and this is the Yod figure we have here. It has two quincunx and one sextile at the bottom. So this would be the top, and there we have Jupiter again. So this this Yod figure is pointing to this Jupiter, and which is strengthened even more by Venus in opposition. There we have also have Venus again from the T-square. So this opposition is part of this Yod figure, and as well it's part of the T-square. And then we see that we have these the sextile, which is the bottom line of the Yod. It's between Saturn and Pluto, which makes it really a biggie. That's not an unimportant sextile. And then we have this other sextile, again with Neptune involved. And this Neptune has a sextile to the Sun. And their conjunction here is accompanied by Juno, an asteroid or dwarf planet, as they call her now. And so this is a very, very intense and also interesting kind of combination. So we have these three astrological figures in one horoscope, and so this is definitely of significance. And what, as I see it, is definitely a point in time where waking up is greatly supported. And by the way, to sort of get out a little bit of the tension of this 2012 thing, the Sun is residing in the galactic center each winter solstice since 1980, and it will continue to do so until 2016. You don't have to believe me. You can read that on the internet. It's common knowledge. So it's important to see that the special meaning of this particular date is not this conjunction of the Sun with the galactic center, because this is part of time quality for 36 years, and this will already be the 32nd year we experience this. And I'm sure if you're one of these people sensitive to energy changes and shifts, you will have noticed something in 1980, as I did, being a child. It was like, yeah, it was getting harder. It was getting darker. It was a real shift, and so we are into a challenging phase, so to say, in human history, and challenges, as also says the title of this evening, is a challenge is the opportunity to grow. And this Yod figure, for instance, so it's the quincunx, by the way, is one of the most difficult aspects in astrology, because it brings together energies that are sort of not really connected. They don't seem to have a relationship. It's like, well, what does he have to do with me? I don't know this guy. So yeah, it's not like I don't like him, and it's not I love him. It's something different. And this is the interesting thing in the quincunx. And so this Pluto in Capricorn in the 11th house definitely points to all these attempts that are going on to establish world dictatorship, fascism, and all this kind of stuff. And this Saturn in the 8th house in Scorpio, it definitely might embody these attempts also to establish sort of a religious dictatorship, so that these two would work together, as the sextile also shows us. But then we have these two quincunx aspects pointing to Jupiter, and not only to Jupiter. There is a conjunction here of Jupiter with Lilith, and Lilith, as you might know, was first wife, and she was the one being created equally with Adam. So there was a balance between male and female, and so this so this conjunction between Jupiter and Lilith on the top of this Yod figure, to me it points to a solution that both these attempts to establishing political, military, religious dictatorship, they don't have in their mindset, because it's the human capacity to outgrow all this and to get into deep insight and expansion and deepening of consciousness, which definitely is the Jupiter aspect in this. And together with Lilith, this will bring back into balance the relation between the sexes, between genders. And so I guess there's a lot of opportunity in this. And empowered by Venus on the bottom, which is a huge power of beauty, love, and all this, I guess there are pretty interesting opportunities. And also definitely this ascendant thing with Chiron and Neptune here brings lots of possibilities of waking up and healing. And together with Regulus on in the opposition to this, which supports this becoming more patient, becoming in getting into this energy of serving the earth, serving humanity. And so I guess there's a lot of beauty in this chart, and I hope this gives you an idea that this is not a day to fear, and so this is just a day maybe to then celebrate and enjoy with your friends and or just with yourself, and create the new earth.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good. It sounds. I think we lost your video. There you go. Okay.
Yes.
So just to sum that up real quick, because we have about 2 minutes left, Alex. We shouldn't be in fear of this year. The world is not going to end. Correct?
Yes, definitely. It's not about being afraid, because this is the sextile that I was talking about. This Pluto Saturn energy, and this is of course trying to tell us again that we need strong leadership, and we need law and order, and whatever kind of punishment if we don't obey. But is this really how we want to live again? And aren't we able to outgrow this? I think we are.
Yeah. Okay, we've been talking to Alex Gottwald. Sorry, you have to teach me a little German. How would you pronounce your name in German?
In German, it's Gottwald.
Gottwald, okay. Alexander Gottwald, transformative coach who has been researching consciousness for the past 25 years, also has research with astrology. But this is not horoscope, your horoscope, that silly stuff that you see in the newspaper today, and what those who have not studied this will compare astrology to that. So it's kind of ridiculous when you hear those kind of comments. But anyway, that's for another day. But we would like to thank you, Alex, for being here with us today and giving us your insight. I think you've made it very clear that the key here is to return to our original self, to understand who we are. And once we understand that, then the rest is smooth sailing, as they would say. Any last words, Alex, before we end the show tonight?
Thank you, Johnny, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to point to the consciousness, to our true nature, to who we already are, and there's nothing to fear.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Alex, for being with us. We'll talk to you later on so we can continue our discussions. That's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you, Alex, once again. And good luck with all your projects. And again, if you'd like to get in contact with Alex, you can do so at alexgottwald.com. Alex, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you for being here once again. This is The Truth Hour. My name is Johnny Guzman, and I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Remember not to give your power away. Keep the focus. Keep learning. Keep understanding who we are, as Alex would say. I'll see you on Monday. Don't forget that on Monday at 10:30 Ecuadorian time, Eastern time, in Canada time, in the United States, and in Canada, we begin our programming with La Ciencia es Nuestra with Dr. Luis Arocha and Laura Montillo talking about this extremely important tool that we have called the brain. They will be here on Monday at 10:30 Ecuador time, followed by Diana Albornoz in Numero Terapia. And then, of course, you can catch us in the evening at 7 p.m. as we bring to you the Truth Hour with Santos Bonacci. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Ciao.